Welcome to Using Academic Search Complete from the Arnold Bernhard Library. In this video you will learn how to get to the Academic Search Complete database from the Arnold Bernhard Library homepage, search for articles, and get to the full text of articles. From the Arnold Bernhard Library homepage, select Academic Search Complete from the list of popular databases. I'll scroll down to get that a little higher on the screen. It's right here under All Databases. If you're off campus, log in with your Quinnipiac username and password. This is the Academic Search Complete homepage. Enter in your search terms here. Like most databases, Academic Search Complete works by searching keywords, not full sentences or questions. We are going to look for articles on the effects of climate change on health. Putting climate change in quotes keeps that phrase together in your results. Sometimes the phrase global warming is used for the same concept, so we want to see articles that use either phrase. So enter climate change in quotes, the connector or global warming in quotes in the first search box. That connector or tells the database to find any article that uses either one of these phrases to describe climate change. Or is a Boolean connector that gives more results by finding articles with alternate terms for a concept or variations in the spelling or form of a keyword. Now we're not selecting a field today which searches all the fields in the description of an article, but if you choose to, you could search authors, titles, subjects within the abstract, geographic terms, and so on down all these choices. Next, I'll keep the Boolean operator AND connected here. You do have the choice of doing another or a not if you want to exclude something. Use not very carefully. The connector AND tells the database to show only the results that have both of your search terms. The other concept we're looking for is health. I'll enter that in the second search box. Another search tip is to type the start of the word and then add an asterisk, like this. This is called truncation. It tells the database to show results with variations on the word, such as healthcare, healthy, healthful, and so on. We're not looking for any of these variations this time, but this is helpful in other searches, so I'll delete the asterisk for now. If your assignment has requirements for the type or currency of the articles, you can set limits to your search ahead of time. Let me show you a few of the limits here. Don't limit to full text. Quinnipiac's article linking may be able to get you to an article in another database, or you can request it through the interlibrary loan service, so don't limit your options ahead of time by checking this. However, if you need scholarly peer-reviewed articles, if you have a date range that you're interested in, a particular publication type, document type, and you know these are requirements for your assignment, you can go ahead and click them. I'm going to go ahead and click Scholarly Peer-Reviewed Journals. Now you will have another chance to add limits after you see your results if you get too many results or too many irrelevant results. But it's best not to over-limit yourself at first. Use the minimum of limits and search and see what you get. When your search terms are entered and your limits are selected, go ahead and click Search. This is Academic Search Complete's display of your search results. This is where you can add filters and focus your search to make the results more relevant and where you will start evaluating and choosing articles. So next you'll learn to apply filters to the search results to get more relevant articles and evaluate the articles that you see in the results. When you're doing your own literature search, you usually do both of these things together, reviewing article citations and abstracts in the results and adding or taking away filters or limits to get to the articles that you really find useful. For the sake of clarity in this video, we'll look at a couple of things on top of the results and then the filters on the left of the screen, and then work with the results in the middle. Just above the first article's citation, you have the number of results. If there are a lot of results, as there are here, you may want to limit further. If there are only a few dozen, you may want to scan them and then broaden your search if necessary. Over here, Academic Search Complete defaults to Relevance Sort. If you're looking for the latest articles, such as news of current events, use the drop-down next to the word Relevance to change to Date Newest. This will show the newest articles. We'll leave it set for Relevance. Let's take a look at the filters on the left. I'm just scrolling down to put more of them on the screen. First, it gives you a box saying which limits and expanders you have right now. Under Limit 2, here are your choices again. Scholarly peer-reviewed, we already checked off on the search screen. And again, don't limit to full text, because that will reduce your options for finding the best articles. You can choose a date range by using this slider, or click on Show More, which brings up a whole other set of limits. And I'm just scrolling up to get the published date up here where it's easier to see, where you can enter a year. Say you want 2015 and on. For now, we're not going to do that. And the way to get out of this is to either X out of it or hit Escape. I'm going to scroll down to see some more limits here. Your source type. You can choose whether it comes from academic journals or other types of sources, depending again on the type of material you need to complete your assignment. The rest of these limits are collapsed to save you from scrolling. And if you want to see them, the best thing to do is click the tiny arrow next to it up here, and then there's Show More if what you're seeing isn't really what you're after. Okay, the subject thesaurus term is where people read the articles and then added standardized terms within this database so that you can find all articles on the same topic using the same thesaurus term. So here, climate change, and there are a few probably older ones that have global warming. You can narrow down to just those articles that have those subjects. Subjects are not so regulated. Those are more like hashtags on social media where the authors or the publishers can put whatever they want as a description of the article. This is an international database and contains articles in many languages. You can limit to only those languages in which you're comfortable reading articles by opening this, showing more if necessary. Geography lets you choose the region that the articles are about or where studies have taken place. Remember, the more filters you choose, the more specific it makes your search and the fewer results you'll see. When your first search gives a lot of results, you can focus it by adding more filters. I'm going back to the top. If you are not getting enough relevant articles, try removing filters from this column or use the search box at the top to search again using different keywords or perhaps removing a keyword. Now let's look at the list of articles in the middle of the screen. Each article is listed with its title, its authors, here are its authors, journal information, the journal and its where to find it in the journal, its publication date, and a DOI if it has one. This has one. It's an academic article. DOIs are unique article identifiers used to find academic articles online. There'll also be a couple of lines showing keywords within the text, some subjects, and links to full text. Always scroll down and look at many of the articles. Even with filters and sorting by relevance, the ones that are most useful to you may not display at the top of the list. Let's scroll down and look at number 3, Climate Change, Global Warming, and Intensive Care. Click on the article's title to read the abstract, which is a summary of the article. This will give you more information than the title, but still help you quickly decide whether this article is likely to be relevant or whether to move on to another. You can see it by scrolling down, and it's just a paragraph, maybe several paragraphs, that summarize what the article is about. A few other things you can do here to work with searches is click on the subject terms here to start a new search on just this subject term. And it turns out climate change and health is one of the subject terms that the readers of these articles have decided to create. While the abstract can help you decide whether an article is relevant to your topic, don't stop here. You need to read the full text version to evaluate the article and use it effectively in your own work. Depending on the article, you might have more than one way to get to the full text. The full text links are over here on the left of the screen. For this article, we have only the Q Check for Full Text link. Selecting it brings you to the article in Springer Link, another database. You can scan through the HTML version of the article by scrolling down. It'll bring you right into the whole article. Or view the PDF using the Download PDF link. When you're linked to another database, look all around the screen. The link to the PDF can be anywhere on the screen. It can be a button like this, a plain text link that just says PDF, or a PDF icon. The PDF from the publisher is the final published version of an article with all the peer review for scholarly articles, copy editing, and layout complete, and the one that's best to download to read further. Now back in Academic Search Complete and back to the results, which I'm using the back to result list within the database to get there. Let's look at result number 6, the public health impacts of global warming and climate change. Now this has the HTML full text and PDF full text icons right here. That means that this one's full text is included right here in the database. You have a choice of selecting the article title to read the abstract or going straight to the full text. We're actually going to click on the title so I can show you one more thing. Let's say you decide that this article is exactly what you're looking for. You've taken a look at the PDF, and now there's a few things you can do with it over here on the right side of the screen. Under Tools over here, you can, I'm not going to point out them all, but you can email it to yourself, you can print it, you can save it onto your computer, you can copy and paste a citation for it in several common citation styles, or export it to RefWorks to generate a citation in many styles, or you can generate a permanent link to it that anyone who belongs to Quinnipiac can open. I'm going back to the results. One last thing, what if none of those links gets you to the full text of an article? To show you how to request an article in Academic Search Complete through our Interlibrary Loan Service, I added a filter for Italian language articles to the same search. So down here in our current search now you can see that Italian has been added. Now if we go to citation number 3, and here, since we've already seen how to get into the main information about the article, we'll go straight to Q-Check for full text. This works the same way regardless of which screen you get to it from. This is an article in a journal that Quinnipiac doesn't subscribe to. Now this is going to a screen that will get you to Interlibrary Loan. In order to do that, you would request this item using this big blue button, and when you go to that, it will prompt you to log in. When you enter the Interlibrary Loan System via the Quinnipiac Check for Full Text link, all the article information is already filled out for you on the form. You can see it over here on the side of the screen. Just going down a bit, be sure you choose a reasonable not wanted after date. It defaults to today's date a year from now, but if your assignment is due before that, it would be a good idea to change that. The other default it has is will you accept the item in a language other than English. Usually people say no, but if you're specifically looking at a foreign language item, you'll want to change that to yes. I'm not actually going to add this request to the list. Our interlibrary loan department has enough to do right now. Since there's quite a bit of variation in this process, don't hesitate to try promising links on the pages. Use the help links provided by the database in the upper right of each page, or the journal's help if you've followed QCheck for full text into a journal, or ask a librarian for guidance. We'll be happy to help you with any questions you might have.